Hello everyone, I am Chaitanya here and you're watching Top Management. In this video, we will answer the question whether for doing business, a company is compulsorily required. Before starting the topic, subscribe the channel. If you like the content, like the video, which will help us to create further videos. Your suggestions to improve videos in future is also welcome. Now let's get back to the topic. First, let us understand what is a company and in what circumstances company form of business is suitable. A person may not get the understanding of a company by mere definition of it. It requires situation, examples and cases to understand. Let us begin with the understanding of a company with its definition. As per the definition given in subsection 20 of Section 2 of the Companies Act 2013, a company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. As per the definition, any business registered as a company under Companies Act 2013 or previous Companies Acts is a company. Here we can observe that incorporation, that is creation of a company in accordance with Companies Act, is a must. So by very definition of a company, it must be registered under Companies Act. If a person wants to do business in the form of a company, he must have basic awareness of the Companies Act. Now the next question is, what is Companies Act and why is it required? In simple words, a company is a form of business organization where a set of people called as management does business using the funds provided by another set of people called as shareholders. Here we observe that one set of people's money is used for business purpose by another set of people. In a company, management gets salary, whereas the shareholders, being owner of the company, gets the profits. In company form of organization, shareholders do not interfere in day-to-day operations of the company, which are managed by the management. When shareholders' funds are used by the management, it is very important for the management to use the funds very carefully. There are numerous cases where the management has misused the funds of the shareholders to make personal benefits at the cost of the owner's fund, and the final losers will be the shareholders. Now, there is a need for a set of rules and regulations to guide the behavior of the management so that the shareholders' funds should not be used for the purpose other than business, and also there is a need for punishment if the management is not following the set of rules and regulations. Companies Act is that set of rules and regulations which a company needs to follow while operating a business in the form of a company. Companies Act provides the framework under which a company needs to operate, and if any company or officer of the company crosses the line, they will be penalized in accordance with the Companies Act. We will discuss the Companies Act in details in future videos. Therefore, if anyone wants to do business in the form of a company, they must be aware that in addition to other statutory requirements, the business will have to comply with Companies Act also. Now, with the basic understanding of a company form of business, let us answer the question whether for doing a business, a company form of organization is must. The answer to this question is no. Multiple factors determine in deciding the form of business. Businesses can be done in the form of proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, and one-person company also. We will discuss all these forms of business in details in future videos. Selection of the form of the business depends upon various factors. Let us discuss some of the factors. First factor is scalability. If the business has very high potential for scaling, getting diversified over a huge geographical area, and the owner will not be in a position to foresee the entire business, he can create a company, transfer the business to that company, engage experienced and professional people to manage the company. But if the business has a limited scope and there are not much opportunities to grow the business, then there is no point in creating a company and maintaining it. The costs and efforts need to be justified. For example, if a person starts a restaurant at one location, he himself can oversee the operations of the restaurant. But if he opens a chain of restaurants, he will be requiring experienced people to run the entire chain of restaurants. He himself cannot manage the entire chain. Here, the company form of organization will be useful. Second factor is distinction between ownership and management. If capital is provided by one set of people and the business is managed by another set of people, then a company form of organization will suit the business. Here, the capital can be brought into by shareholders and directors can be appointed to manage the business, who will be responsible to the shareholders for the business and use of funds. Third factor is the requirement to have a company to get the business. If it is compulsory to have a company to get the business, then the company form of organization will be required. For example, to apply for a tender for which one of the conditions will be that only a company can bid for the tender. In that scenario, there will be a requirement to have a company as compulsory. Limited liability. This is one of the most important factor for doing business as a company. When the business is very risky, then company form of organization is better suited. For example, ABC Technologies, a limited liability company, creates a new software product but faces lawsuit due to data breach. If the court awards damages to the plaintiffs, the liability would only affect the assets and funds of ABC Technologies. Limited liability effect. The founders or shareholders of ABC Technologies would not have to pay out of their own pockets for damages beyond the company's assets. Here, limited liability means the loss of the shareholder will be maximum up to the paid up capital of the company, and the liability will not be on the personal assets of the shareholder. So his personal assets will be always safe. Only whatever he has invested in the company as a capital may become zero. Let's have a look at the second example. LMN Manufacturing Limited produces industrial machinery. One of its machines malfunctions, causing injury to a customer, who then sues for damages. Limited liability effect. LMN Manufacturing Limited might need to pay damages, but only from its own assets. The shareholders' personal assets are not at risk. Let's go for the third example. Spice Up Limited, a limited liability company running a chain of restaurants, faces food safety issues leading to significant financial losses and lawsuits. Limited liability effect. The company may have to settle claims and pay from the business assets, but personal finances of the owners remains unaffected. Let's go for the next example. Global Freight Limited, a logistics company, faces a lawsuit for lost goods in transit. The company doesn't have enough funds to cover the claim. Limited liability effect. The liability of the company is limited up to the assets of the company. Owners or shareholders' personal asset cannot be claimed. Let us go for another example. A private limited company, XYZ Retail Private Limited, opens a chain of retail stores and borrows a large amount to finance inventory. Unfortunately, the business doesn't perform well and XYZ Retail cannot repay its debt. Limited liability effect. The owner's personal assets, such as their home or savings accounts, are protected. Creditors can only claim the company's assets, not the owner's personal asset. After going through so many examples and concepts, The concept of limited liability offers significant protection to business owners by safeguarding their personal assets from business debts and liabilities. This structure is particularly advantageous for businesses in high risk industries or those requiring substantial investment. Limited liability ensures a clear distinction between personal and business finances, making it an essential consideration for businesses seeking stability, scalability, and credibility. But for doing business, it is no compulsory to have a company. Businesses can also be done in the form of proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, one person company also. Do remember that maintaining a company and its compliance may become costly. Company form of business need to appoint directors, auditors, etc. A company need to conduct audit of its books of accounts and need to follow accounting standards, for which company need to engage qualified and knowledgeable people, which will add to the cost but will not help in increase revenue. Each form of business has its own pros and cons. Selecting the right form of business depends on case to case basis and requirement of the business. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any question, comment below.